Good morning. I don't have my usual stool, so I don't look as tall as I normally would. I'm Rebecca Waddle, a member of your Board of Trustees and Religious Education Committee, and it's my job this morning to welcome you all to the Unitarian Universalist Church on this Wabanaki land that we now call Brunswick, Maine. If you are masking today and would like an additional layer of, I don't know, security, we have created a section, the back row or two is so that people who are masked would like to sit with other masked people. That's an option, just want everyone to know about it. Today is November 27th. Our own Marilee Tiemann is leading this morning's service. She's going to help us think about transitions like aging, growing, and seeing ourselves as resources. Music is being provided by our music director, Nell Britton. For any of you who may be new or visiting and would like more information about our church, please stop by the visitors table in the back of the welcome area there, and someone from our membership committee would love to chat with you this morning. A reminder that coffee hour will resume just as soon as someone steps forward to assume the role of organizer. I have been assured that this is not a huge or difficult task. There are folks who can show you the ropes. If you're a born organizer, speak to one of the board members after today's service. Robin Hanson would love for you to know that we still have a few more slots that need to be filled to make our holiday fair a success, which is next Saturday, December 3rd. I'm a little out of it. Particularly, the Eats and Treats table could use a few more contributions. We could use some greeters at the door. And we are very grateful for everyone who has already made the effort to commit. And finally, for those of you attending in person here in the sanctuary today, please take a moment to double check that your mobile devices have been silenced. And welcome. We are so glad you have joined us today.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Bernier, and I'm a member of the worship committee, and David Julien is going to light the chalice this morning. This is Our Hope and Our Passion by Pat Uri Blichty. We light our chalice knowing that our hope and our passion are needed to change the world. We bring different gifts to the work, but we come together in one faith that what we do makes a difference, both to our world and in ourselves.
I always get up here and look out at you and think, I wish you could stand here and look out at you, because it's really quite beautiful. Kind of like I suspect the difference between being in a tree and looking at a tree, I think. That came to me. For opening words, I actually would like to share a moment that happened to me, and to ask all of us to breathe. So it went like this. One day I was, it's interesting when you think back on a story, what you remember and what you forget. Do you know what I mean? My dad always used to begin stories by saying, well, this is the way I like to remember it. You can tuck that away. Anyway, something happened. I was driving, and our grandson, Eli, who was then probably in second grade, be about 7 or 8, right? Was in the back seat with his friend, Max. And something happened in the car. I can't remember what it was, but it was something jarring, so that I was not exactly calm and driving, all right? And Eli in the back seat said, "Grammy, I think you need to take a belly breath." Do you know what a belly breath is? It's where instead of just breathing into your chest, you actually make the air go, you do that thing that you've been taught not to do and sort of stick your tummy out and breathe into your tummy. Want to try it? Just go like this. It's very calming. And so, once again, I was reminded how something very simple, learned profoundly by someone very young, was very important. And I'd like us to breathe deeply now by singing. And if everybody would want to join in, we're going to sing our opening hymn, Gather the Spirit. It's number 347, but the words are also up on the screens. Ready? I get to sing with you?
Yeah. So today is the first Sunday of Advent, and we have a little bit long of an explanation about Advent, but it's really great and helps to make sense of it all. So this is the time of year we are entering where the earth grows colder, the animals begin to hibernate, and the days become continually shorter. This morning marks the beginning of the season of Advent. In the Christian tradition, Advent is the beginning of the church year, recognizing the transforming power of God in the world and looking forward toward the birth of Jesus and the celebration of spiritual light. And Christianity is not alone in celebrating light in this time of year. Hanukkah, solstice, and Kwanzaa all involve candles, fire, and lights as part of their celebrations. Each week until Christmas, we light a new candle on the Advent wreath, a circle of evergreens along with each of the preceding candles. The flame of each new candle reminds us that something is happening now, but something more is still to come. The light of Advent grows brighter and brighter, guiding us toward personal peace, shared joy, and more love. This morning we light the first candle. We light this candle as a symbol of hope and expectation. May we dare to open the shadowy places in our lives and memories to the healing light of community. With the creative power of hope, we express our longing for peace and prepare our hearts to be transformed. And this reading came from the UUA. Do you want me to light it?
Give my little thing up there. Oh, it's not much help. So I'm wondering if the children would come up and join me. And if you're a visiting person, don't worry, I'm just going to read a story. Oh, thank you so much for coming. So you want to turn this way if you're here, so I can show you the pictures and stuff? I chose this book for a lot of reasons. Especially because I love the title. It's called I Am Human. I think it's a good thing, being human. I was born a miracle, one of billions, but unique. You know how many billions of people we have now? Anybody know? Yeah, 8 billion. Isn't that amazing? I am human. I am always learning. You need to know that you learn a lot outside of school, don't you? You already know this. You're in high school, college. But you learn as much in the hall as you do in the classroom. Yeah. I'm finding my way and choosing my path on this incredible journey. I have big dreams. I see possibilities. I have endless curiosity. I make discoveries. I have a feeling of wonder, and I'm amazed by nature. I have a playful side. I find joy in friendships. I am human. But being human means I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I can hurt others with my words, my actions, and even my silence. I can be hurt too. I can be fearful of things I don't yet understand and timid to try something new. I have a heavy heart when I feel sadness, but then I remind myself that because I am human, I can make choices. I can move forward. I like this drawing. A poor choice can become a better choice with thoughtfulness. A bad day can become a great day with kindness. I can act with compassion and lend a helping hand. I can treat others with equality and be fair. I can choose not to fight, but instead to listen and find a common ground. I can say, I'm sorry, and ask for forgiveness. I am human, one of the billions, but unique. I am not alone, I am connected to my friends, to my family, to the world. We are all humans together. And I will keep trying to be the best version of me. I'm full of hope. I am human. I don't know if you heard Stephanie say that this is the beginning of Advent, and today is a day when we think about hope. I wonder if other beings can feel hope, or if it's just humans. Oh, I think they can. Think about at the dinner table if there's a dog sitting by you. Right? Okay, I promised you wouldn't have to do anything, especially those of you who are new. So I guess we're done, right?
Now it's time to sing the children out. I think you have something special planned.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Julie Dahmer, a pastoral care associate. For concerns this morning, Janet Fournier, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but asks us to send prayers for her friend Jessica, whose son Josh died last month. She is struggling to cope with this tragic loss for her and her family. Rebecca Waddle is carrying worry about her mother Connie's shoulder replacement surgery on Tuesday. She broke it in a fall the week before Thanksgiving. Rebecca will be in Addison, Maine for an undetermined time to help with pre-op prep and post-op care. Kathy Jakes and Linda Mallard ask you to hold their friends Jan and Sharon and Kathy's cousin Judy in the light as they go through chemo for pancreatic and colon cancer. And the worship committee asks that we send loving thoughts to all those whose lives have been altered by violence this past week. We have no joys listed, but I think we can all be happy, those of us at least who were able to gather with family or one family member or loving friends for a Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday. If you're not attending in-person services and would like a joy or concern read from the pulpit, you may send an email to uucbjoysandconcerns@gmail.com. The address is up on the screen and in UUCB's weekly email. If you have a concern you would like to discuss in private, please speak with a pastoral care associate. We have light blue ribbons on our name tags and would be happy to listen and help.
You'll see that a responsive reading is next, and it's in our hymnals as number 665. Transcendental Etude. No one ever told us that we had to study our lives. That we should begin with the simple exercises first and slowly go on trying the harder ones. Practice till strength and accuracy. And in fact, we can't live like that. We can't take on everything at once before we've even begun to read or mark time. We're forced to begin in the midst of the hardest movement. The one already started as we are born. So, hi. From the title of this morning's reflection, you know that I'm going to share some thoughts about aging. I suspect it's a topic that we all discuss now and then. Folks I hang with frequently share frustrations and concerns about our tricky memories or annoying aches and pains. Today, however, I'd like to shine our focus on various perspectives of aging, especially opening up to its less discussed attributes. I like to think of this unique moment of our aging, especially if we have the luxury of being retired, as a time to devote not just to relaxation or volunteering, but also to evolving. There's time in our lives now to nourish ourselves spiritually. Ooh, I hesitated to say the word spiritually, but I figure you've come to church, so you kind of expect that, right? So when I began to sculpt these thoughts on aging, I also realized it would be helpful to frame today's reflection with the Tibetan Buddhist concept of Maitri. It's spelled M-A-I-T-R-I. Maitri means something like our words benevolence, loving kindness, goodwill. The word is from the Sanskrit, and perhaps it's best described as unconditional friendship with oneself or unconditional acceptance. It's a breathing practice, a form of meditation. And now, since I struggle with sitting, you might guess I struggle to sit, I hesitate to take on the role of a meditation instructor, but I've decided to go ahead within this framework. So let's simply explore Maitri's potential together. Decades ago, my Buddhist teacher, who was born in Tibet, began to explain that Maitri requires us to first give this loving kindness to ourselves. To practice allowing the acceptance, the kindness that we might readily give to others to ourselves. He taught Maitri wasn't ego-centered, for true loving kindness will only evolve if we begin to recognize our own needs for acceptance and compassion and be kind to ourselves. And within the practice of Maitri, it is then possible to evolve from this first important step, moving logically toward having unconditional acceptance, friendship with others. Eventually, even to those we presently find annoying or beyond challenging. It starts with breathing in, giving kindness and acceptance to ourselves, and then breathing in, giving it to loved ones. Often this begins with a pet. Next to those we feel kind of neutral about. And then to those who we might find annoying. On to those that we think we dislike. And then to those who seem the opposite of how we see ourselves. We might think this simply isn't possible. Oh, we can breathe all right, but maybe we don't even want to feel comfortable or unconditionally accepting of those folks who are annoying, or worse, behave the opposite of what we hold as appropriate. But think about the concept. Maitri's giving of goodwill is logically counter to the opposite of propagating ill will. And who among us would truly wish to propagate ill will? Also, it's a necessary part of our evolving to diminish the ill will we might hold toward even bits of ourselves. Think back to our teen years when each of us was truly skilled at finding ill will toward bits of ourselves. I recall a daily struggle with what I saw as my stringy hair, long arms, and oh, how I hated my bumpy nose. Or how I'd rehash what I perceived as some stupid things I said or did for days like a broken record. I still do sometimes, yet now I add goodwill to my recording. And so there's humor and some comfort for me, the same comfort that I'd offer a dear friend. Not surprisingly, it's somehow easier to fess up to errors and so move to eliminate such thoughts and actions within the practice of Maitri. Furthermore, and this is the key, Maitri highlights the hypocrisy of saying we believe in peace, we believe in the power of love, if we don't even share loving kindness with ourselves. The practice is simple yet profound. It's a breathing practice and handy because you don't even need to go out and buy a lot of fancy new gear to do it. All you need, you have already. So I'm suggesting we give it a try right now. Sit comfortably, just with your hands in your lap or on your knees if you want. Kind of helpful to put both feet on the floor, feeling groundedness. And if it's easier for you to concentrate, you can lower or close your eyes. Let's just take a few of those full belly breaths together. Breathe in slowly. And let your out breath just release. If it's comfortable, sigh out your breath. Now, think of your heart and breathe in loving kindness and unconditional acceptance of your humanity. And let the breath of Maitri radiate out with your out breath. Just let it go. We now move to include those we hold dear. Picture someone, or some animal, or loved thing, and breathe in loving kindness, unconditional acceptance, and then let it radiate out. Then to someone we feel neutrally toward, with kindness, and let it go. And then to someone we perceive as annoying, with kindness, unconditional acceptance, and radiate it out. And now to someone we believe we dislike, showered with unconditional acceptance, and radiate it out. And finally, to those we perceive as believing all we hate, breathe in with unconditional acceptance. And let the breath of Maitri radiate out with your breath. Just let it go. This practice is considered to be radiating kindness in 6 directions, like a trumpeter's horn, which can be heard all around. Also, examine how practicing cultivating kindness to all beings removes our clinging to a negative state of mind. And note how Maitri weaves in language like we perceive as, we believe we, in the list. Ideally, the practice of loving kindness that begins with being aware of ourselves creates a power to go beyond perception to transcendence. Remember, it's a practice, so kind of wonky in spots at first. Here's a powerful Buddhist quote about Maitri. I'm going to read it slowly. For one who attends to properly toward the liberation of the heart by benevolence, unarisen ill will does not arise, and arisen ill will is abandoned. In other words, if we didn't feel any negativity, it won't be there. And if we did, it will be easier to let it go. Here's one more of Maitri's subtle aspects. It even aspires to move beyond compassion. Focusing on just compassion would inspire a wish to relieve a being from suffering, while focusing on loving kindness inspires to wish a being happiness. There are modern studies that have indicated that loving kindness is more effective focus than even compassion. And certainly there is a difference between wishing relief from suffering and wishing happiness. However, if we're honest with ourselves, sometimes, for whatever reason, there is that unconscious distinction within our wishes. And it's especially challenging to wish happiness for people who hold beliefs we perceive to be in opposition to ours. Our current political culture is manifestation of this. What's more, Maitri is different than a lack of ill will. It's more of an antidote to fear and hatred. Reflect on this a moment. What is behind our hatred of thinking which is opposite from ours? Could it be fear? Now, if we actually imagine the subtleties of a moment-to-moment practice of the depth of loving kindness, of liberation of the heart by benevolence, where the unrisen ill will does not arise, and the arisen ill will is abandoned, we can begin to glimpse the evolved thinking behind the face of an elder like the Dalai Lama or other enlightened beings. We can begin to appreciate the deeper implications of the most cherished of all religious teachings, the Golden Rule, the principle of treating others the way we would like to be treated. Various expressions of this rule can be found in the tenets of most religions and creeds through the ages. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Well, if we are not unconditionally accepting of ourselves, we sure have lowered the bar of the Golden Rule. Then it becomes, be critical and disapproving of others as we are to ourselves. It's sort of a rusty rather than golden rule. However, if we follow the golden logic, this includes loving kindness toward those who we perceive as enemies, right? Yet all I'm proposing is that we begin by expanding our loving kindness, our unconditional acceptance to ourselves, especially ourselves as evolving elders. And this brings us back to aging. Remember, my chosen reflection was about aging? Well, aging has been a curious process for me. Overall, truly, I've been clueless and astounded by every stage of physical and cultural changes in my life. And this is one too. One reason aging is surprising is that my parents died young and I lost their paths to follow. So I learned about old age by selecting the best of role models around me. Many years ago, I was driving with my teaching mentor, Olive Palmer, to Booth Bay for a picnic. It was one of those grand summer days in Maine, you know, where they have the right temperature and just a soft breeze. As we rode along, I asked, "So, where would you like to stop for a picnic?" And she looked out her window, pointing to a lovely large yard and garden surrounding an obviously wealthy home. "There would be nice," she said. And at first beat, I thought she was kidding. But looking at her made me slow the car and check. "Olive, you know that that's somebody's personal property, right?" "Uh-huh. But it's okay. I'm invisible." "What?" "I'm just an old lady, so nobody pays any attention to me. I'm invisible, and you're with me, so you're invisible too." She seemed clearly determined to do this, already getting out of the car with her cane and heading toward a perfect shade tree. I gathered our picnic gear and followed. This remains a perfect summer memory. The expansive lawn, meticulously tended gardens, yummy homemade bread, sandwiches, lemonade, and cookies, and Olive sitting in a folding chair like a queen, looking out at the best of Maine picnic spots, where she was right. Nobody noticed we were there. Well, it kind of bothers me now that I've become invisible. I don't like being ignored by others, and I know I'm not alone. And I suspect you know what I mean, especially the women. But it was interesting when talking about this with some other folks recently, one of the men said, "Oh, these feelings are there for me too, except in my situation," he added passionately, "even though I know I have much to offer, the world seems to be saying to me, 'Get out of my way, old man.'" Now I expect we could all gather together and make a list of the emotional bits that we hate about aging. And there might be some value in doing this. Certainly there is comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our physical aches, floaters in our eyesight, numbness in our feet, ringing in our ears, loss of hearing. although I do maintain that people are talking quicker today than they used to, and they don't articulate. Yet, what would happen when we adopt the practice of Maitri and bestow loving kindness and unconditional acceptance on ourselves as elders? Not just to minimize our discomfort, but to focus on the universality of this life process and even its many beneficial pieces beyond retirement, Social Security, and senior discounts. Benefits like the freedom of being invisible, responding and respecting our own wisdom, and our sense of importance of the present, our realization of the fragility of time, or the supreme comfort of a longtime friend who one day, while doing the math, you realize you've known for almost 50 years. It takes some effort to achieve Maitri with ourselves. I would even say it's an endeavor, good English word, endeavor, where the effort is sustained and challenging. Yet, isn't it worth all it takes and more? First of all, instead of losing some skill, we gain in our evolution as elders. And we are still evolving, for there is more for us to become. This aging is yet another stage in our becoming human. In fact, in choosing to be kind to ourselves, this practice could ease our worry, our anxiety, and increase our sense of humor. Certainly, negativity will not accomplish any of that. Think of a group of dog or cat lovers talking about their favorite animals, or grandparents sharing photos and stories of their grandchildren. It is truly a phenomenal outpouring of kindness, of pure, unconditional love, isn't it? What if we were able to breathe in that kindness toward ourselves? It's a choice. Just like choosing negativity, biting, and even holding on to our anger toward a rude driver. We could choose compassion. We could laugh at our own folly. What if we were able to see this reality of being invisible as a great freedom? Think of, dream up the possibilities. I'm up for a picnic anytime. We could even gather together and list the attributes of aging. With grand humor and creativity, who knows, we could become a support system for each other's evolving into fearless elders. Because within our combined practice of Maitri, we would collectively be more aware and so more filled with loving kindness and unconditional acceptance. We have the potential to do, to create, to implement, and to evolve. And we have all we need to continue. We can just breathe in unconditional acceptance of our humanity. and our friends. It is now time for our offering, all Sunday non-pledged monies are split with the monthly Charities of Soul, and this month's charity is Maine Family Planning. The offertory is going to be played by Nell, and it is a song called Come Sunday by Duke Ellington, which I've requested because I love it. Join in the congregational response. Make these offerings sustain and grow the work of this church, weaving a tapestry of love and action. So, okay, I didn't know that was going to be so moving to me. Thank you. Now. So our closing hymn is number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
Yeah.
You may find during this week that there's a split second between you and being angry with another driver. That there's a moment where you really feel the beauty of your mistake and offer that same kindness to someone else, even in the checkout line. And all you got to do is breathe in loving kindness to the being that's breathing. Should we turn to each other now? Because you're standing? Let's shake it up. Turn to each other now and say,
So we can extinguish these and then sit down. Here. Oh, well, that's okay.
oh, I took away, now it's on.
That's okay.
I better go.
Talk to you.
You see what I meant when I said, when you said that it didn't have to be perfect? I said, yeah, I know.
Not perfect, it's perfect.
Yeah. Around you, always have